When you see men fall, don't laugh. Learn. Learn. Because you're on your way up. And the things that tempt people to fall, you and I are not free from that temptation, nor from the weakness that will cause us to stumble and fall. When you laugh at somebody else's fall, white or black, rich or poor, your enemy or your friend, you are laughing and opening a way for your own demise when you do that. Because to laugh and not learn, to make mockery and not to understand, is to make the same mistake yourself.
I've created a modern retelling of Plato's Charmides for readers aged 13 and up, featuring African-American female characters navigating the philosophical concept of temperance in a contemporary setting. I hope you enjoy this unique interpretation of a classic dialogue.
Temperance is doing your own business, but a doctor heals others. Is he not temperate?
Wait, I see the contradiction in that.
A challenging concept in our world today.
Yeah.
So you're saying temperance is really about knowing yourself?
It is. It's finding your own truth, not just following
Temperance, I've learned, is not the art of disappearing. It is the wisdom to know your own rhythm and the courage to march to it.
Wait, I see how much deeper that goes.
The art of balance. Nalo returned to the Lyceum Academy of Fine Arts after a long summer at the competitive city exhibition. The halls felt different, humming with the digital glow of tablets and the smell of fresh acrylics. She was looking for a new perspective, something that felt as solid as the ground after a long sea voyage. She stood at the threshold of the great hall, her duffel bag slung over one shoulder, her eyes sharp and searching behind her stylish glasses. In the center of the studio sat Zora, a junior whose reputation for perfect composure had spread faster than a viral reel. Zora didn't paint with the frantic energy of her peers. She moved with a calculated, rhythmic grace. She was currently working on a digital mural, her stylus moving like a conductor's baton. To look at her was to see the very definition of a quiet soul, a person whose inner world was perfectly aligned with her outer actions. Nalo approached Zora, curious if this girl's legendary calmness was a skill or a shield. "They say you have the most balanced hand in the academy, Zora," Nalo said, leaning against the workbench. "But what is this balance you possess? If you had to define it, not in colors, but in truth, how would you describe the virtue that keeps your hand so steady and your heart so quiet?" Before Zora could answer, her cousin Maya stepped into the light. Maya was the Academy's top strategist, a girl who viewed art as a series of calculated moves toward success. "Zora's balance is her modesty," Maya declared, placing a hand on Zora's shoulder. "She knows her place, she works without ego, and she never rushes the process. Balance is simply the act of being still and knowing when to wait." Nalo turned her attention to Maya, her eyes twinkling with the joy of a good debate. "Is that so, Maya? You say balance is stillness. But when we look at the best athletes or the most brilliant dancers, isn't their balance found in their speed and their quickness? If a girl thinks too slowly or moves too cautiously, we don't call her balanced, we call her sluggish. So how can balance be purely stillness?" Zora bit her lip, her brow furrowing as she considered Nalo's words. The perfect composure flickered for a moment. She looked at her mural, a complex web of geometry and light. She realized that her best work didn't come from being slow, but from knowing exactly how fast to move. She began to wonder if her modesty was just a beautiful word for her fear of being seen or being wrong. "Maybe," Zora said softly, looking back at Nalo, "balance isn't about how fast or slow I move. Maybe it's about doing my own business. Perhaps balance is the wisdom to know what is mine to create and what is not, and focusing only on what is truly within my power." Nalo nodded, acknowledging the growth, but she wasn't finished. The inquiry had to go deeper into the heart of the soul. Maya shook her head, frustrated by the turn the conversation was taking. That's just more words, Zora. If you want a real definition, listen to me. Balance is the science of sciences. It is the ability to know what you know, and, more importantly, to know what you do not know. It is the ultimate self-awareness. Maya's voice was firm, her eyes flashing with the desire to settle the matter once and for all. Nalo sighed, a small, knowing smile on her face. But Maya, if you only know what you don't know, do you actually know anything at all? If a doctor only knows health but doesn't know medicine, can she heal? If we only know the concept of balance but don't know how it applies to our painting, our friendships, or our lives, what good is that knowledge to us? We are searching for a balance that makes us better, not just smarter. The sun began to set over the Lyceum, casting long purple shadows across the studio. They hadn't found a perfect sentence to define balance, but Zora felt lighter. I don't think I can define it yet, Zora admitted to Nalo. But I think I want to keep looking. Will you help me? Will you charm me with your questions until I can see clearly? Nalo laughed, a warm and melodic sound. I think, Nalo said, that the search is the balance itself.
Temperance is doing your own business. But a doctor heals others. Is he not temperate?
Wait, I see the contradiction in
A
that.
challenging concept in our world today.
Yeah.
So you're saying temperance is really about knowing yourself.
It is. It's finding your own truth, not just following.
Temperance, I've learned, is not the art of disappearing. It is the wisdom to know your own rhythm and the courage to march to it.
Wait, I see how much deeper that goes.
My rhythm, my march.
The world spins fast, a frantic sound, a noisy pulse that pounds the ground. It tells you how to move to beat, to trade your soul for what they see. It offers scripts and borrowed light, and dims the quiet flame inside. Yeah.
But deep within, below the dim, the different pulse has always been a steady thrum, a true one note, a compass in your very throat. It does not shout, it does not plead.
It's just the wisdom that you need. It's the wisdom to know your own rhythm. The courage to march to its sound. When the whole world beats a different drum, my 2 feet stay on my own ground. My rhythm,
My march,
my march.
temperance ain't just saying no. It's knowing where you choose to go. It's turning down the borrowed beat to find your own 2 moving feet. It's
Power in a patient breath, a quiet voice that conquers death. Of spirit is the gentle hand that helps your weary neighbor stand. Cause my rhythm grows strong when I hear your song, and we make a new harmony rise. It's the wisdom to know your own rhythm. The courage to march to its sound. When the whole world beats a different drum, my 2 feet stay on my own ground. My rhythm,
my rhythm, my march,
my rhythm,
my rhythm,
my march,
my rhythm,
my march,
my march.
Yeah. Some days the outside drum is loud, it wraps you in a shroud of doubt. You stumble and you lose the tune beneath the cold and judging moon, but then you feel it
Deep and low,
Your compass tells you